is committed to funding research into emerging contaminants and maintaining high standards of water quality. Mungi Zikoko, Eyewitness News.
And there's a hive of activity at the DHL Stadium in Cape Town where Mandela Day festivities are underway. Volunteer group Ladles of Love is making sandwiches, packing boxes of non-perishable groceries and making arts and crafts. These will benefit thousands of children at early childhood development centres. Lauren Isaacs is at the stadium and felt this report.
Hundreds of volunteers are feverishly busy making peanut butter and jam sandwiches, packing food items like rice, beans and tinned goods in buckets and boxes, and creating crafts to brighten up the early childhood development centres that will benefit from the work of Ladles of Love. The organisation's Danny Diliberto.
Today, I think primarily for me, it's about spreading kindness, and what a day to do it on Mandela Day.
These volunteers have shared with Eyewitness News what Mandela Day means to them.
We're very proud to be South African, so it's very nice to show people who are less fortunate that we can also do good in the time that we have.
Mandela Day means to me to give back for those vulnerable ones and to care for one another.
Lauren Isaacs, Eyewitness News, Cape Town.
Gold is trading at $3,351.78 an ounce. The rand's at $17.69 to the dollar, $23.78 to the pound, and $20.59 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $69.52 a barrel.
Edenville heading towards Bedfordview. There's slow-moving traffic. That's on the R24 westbound between the Edenville off-ramp and the Kilulis interchange. Also leaving the Joburg CBD, expect some delays on the M2 westbound between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road. And finally, if you're traveling through Brakpan, this is leaving Boksburg. There's an accident scene and roadworks on the N17 eastbound. This is approaching Rangeview Road.
It's a partly cloudy Friday in Gauteng this Mandela Day. The temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu says he's ready to cooperate with a commission of inquiry probing allegations against him.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the app. Walk through history, walk with it. Sunday, 27 July, 7:02 Walk the Talk. Hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. More on primemediaplus.com.
7:02
Live
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Well, I hope you can feel the energy from out there. We've just had the most extraordinary hour. Firstly, I was fed the most delicious food, so I was in a bit of a food coma. I'm Jane Dutton, coming out of that coma right now, in for Relebogile today. And then we were listening to Ishmael Unplugged. It was unbelievable. We got a message from Noiko saying, you've got a great legend. I thought he was Trevor Noah because of looks. Beer was cool then. Anyway, he sang 5 songs for us. Everyone was jiving around. It was just such a vibe. And he played his first or his latest song for us, Moya, which we can attest is going to be a bit of a hit. Talking of hits, I'm going to be talking about the upside of failure with Grant Kekana, South African soccer player. He's forged his career through persistence and adaptability, rising to become PSL Defender of the Season in 2023 and 24, a key figure in South Africa's national team and Sundowns, and we welcome him here into the studio.
Thank you for having me.
And if anyone wants to ask you any questions, because I'm sure that people would love to know what's been going on in your life, we're going to dig deep today. These are the numbers, 011-883-0702. You can tweet me on at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons, or you can email me at 702afternoons at 702.co.za or WhatsApp me on 072 702 1702. You can leave a message or send a voice message and we'll play that out. And you can SMS us as well briefly on 31702.
7:02
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Grant, as you know, we're talking about the upside of failure, and I'm sure many people have many failures in their life. And we know about your achievements, which we'll elaborate a little bit more in case not everybody in this country knows about you, which I fail to believe. Can you share one of your most significant failures and what it ended up teaching you?
To be honest, I don't know if I should call it a failure or a test. But there was a time in my previous club when I was playing for SuperSport United. I had like 6 months left on my contract, and that season I wasn't playing. And then I had a knee injury, which I think took me out for 3.5 months.
Oh.
So I had to really just dig deep because I was uncertain of my future. And I think my boy was a few months old at that time, and everyone was looking at me to obviously provide, and that was the most challenging time in my career. But I think it taught me a lot about having character and sticking things through. I worked hard to obviously recover from my injury. Unfortunately enough, after I recovered, I played again, and I think my next game was the final when we beat Pirates in Durban at the Nedbank Cup final. And after that game, I got a contract extension. But that period, 6 months before, there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubt, and I wasn't so sure as to where my career was going, and that was really just a dark time in my life because I also just had a kid, and I'm trying to provide for this kid, so that for me was the most challenging time.
Gosh, and there's
in my
nothing
career.
more stressful, is there, when suddenly children enter your lives
There's nappies, there's all these things.
and you suddenly realize it's just you, really. I mean, well, a lot of it is you, and you are the one that's got to make this life a good one.
Yeah, so I took that upon myself. I looked at it from a positive point of view, to say, you know what, my first thing is to overcome this injury, because I'm still getting income. I'm still contracted, and recover as quick as I can so that, I can prove my worth and my value, and earn another contract, And I think he was my biggest motivation because I didn't want to let him down, Bringing him into the world and making him struggle wasn't something I wanted for him, And yeah, I think that just pushed me to be where I am today.
Did you ever think this could be the end? This is it. I'm going to have to think of something else.
No, definitely. I used to have chats with my mom, like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not playing. Sometimes you even say to yourself, maybe the coach at the time doesn't like you. You have all these doubts, all these thoughts, but even my mom just taught me to be resilient, and to not give up. Something will give, and it eventually did give.
I'm talking to Grant Kekana, a very well-known soccer player, plays for Bafana, and we're going to go through all your different iterations, including the people that have led you on your way. You talk a lot about your mum. You've mentioned her now, and I've seen in your social media posts that she's somebody important in your life. Tell us about that relationship and how she sees your good and your bad moments.
I think we have it's sort of like a brother-sister relationship. We fight all the time. But
what do you fight about?
Everything. Sometimes I never used to make my bed, like doing my bed, so she'd shout at me about that, or having my room untidy, not cleaning, not washing my car, things like that, but she's always been the person to make me accountable, but she's been my rock. She's been the one who supported me from the get-go. Bought me my first pair of soccer boots.
Really? At what age?
I think I was 9, grade 3. Yeah, 2001. She actually bought me the wrong soccer boots. But I was grateful that, I did get soccer boots.
Why were they the wrong ones?
At the time, there were these Argentinas that I liked. And then she came back with the Jomosonos. And I said,
Mom, this is not cool.
This is not the one. Because I was telling all my friends, this week I'm getting these boots, what. And then the next day I come with the wrong boots, but I was just grateful that, she's been there from the start of this journey. She's still there. I'm very privileged that she's still there in my journey. And she's someone that I rate highly because she's in politics, obviously, and the dynamics of politics, and I've seen her struggles in politics, and I think that's also given me strength when I've had my challenges, because I'm like, if she's had so many challenges in the political space. Whenever I encounter challenges, I can learn from her because she's managed to overcome them.
What have you seen in her failures in the political spectrum? And often these can be fabricated failures or imposed by somebody else, because we know that space is a pretty competitive space. What have you seen her do in her failures that have helped you possibly in yours?
I think the biggest one was when they were still in Limpopo before they came to national, and then they took them out of government and they were sort of like outcasted and whatever. And then you get to see that, someone who was high up there to be brought back down to earth, everyone, she had to redo or like rehab her relationships with other people, start from scratch type of thing, and at that time she was so used to being the main person to suddenly being a nobody, and she gradually worked her way up again. But she had my support at that time because I was a son. I was the one who she came to hug and say, I'm going through this. I couldn't do anything, but I was just there.
Just to be there.
So even in my space, when I go through challenges, I can talk to her. I know she can't change anything, but she's there,
How important is it to have that kind
presence.
of North Star person, that person that you can just offload and reveal your insecurities to?
I think it's very crucial because sometimes we die inside, not being able to know who we can talk to. And for me to have somebody who I can vent to, whatever. Sometimes she thinks maybe I'm crazy or I'm over exaggerating things, but she's there to listen. And that's sometimes what's important, somebody to listen. Sometimes we don't want answers, we don't want explanations, we just want somebody who can listen. And then I know that she knows when I've come down, she'll tell me, what, as much as you say this, I don't think that was the right approach. So she's also got timing as to when she'll give me an answer to something or if she agrees with my complaints to her.
I mean, it's interesting when you hear this because, you hear about your mum, Pinky, and the sort of role that she's played, and then you don't often hear that or see that personal side to somebody, particularly when they're in politics.
Yeah.
What sort of relationship do you have with your dad?
It's a bit of we have a relationship. It's a bit of a strange one though, but the relationship is there. He just wasn't there for the large part of my life. And I think, as growing up, I think you need both parents, but my mom has been my mom and dad for the longest time, but I'm honored to still, or privileged to still have a dad, and for me, I'd rather have a relationship than to regret one day when he's not around to say, I could have done this, I could have. So even last week we had a conversation. I think I'm seeing him on Sunday, and we're just talking. Obviously, you can't make up the time that's lost, but you can appreciate his presence while he's still around. Yeah.
It's so important, isn't it? You don't want to look back and think, gosh, I could have done more, or we didn't get that to it. And what have you learned from not having your dad there with you when you were growing up with your kid now?
I just think sometimes presence is important because every time I'm with my kid, I can see how much of a hero I am to him. And he's got a role model who's right in front of him. So that also pushes me to keep doing what I do, and I think for me to not have had a father figure, obviously there was like a huge dent in me, and I couldn't allow that pain and pass it on to my son because sometimes we don't realize it until we are older and we're like, as much as I achieved this, I think I could have been better had I had somebody who I looked up to and who could have put me or shifted me in the right direction, and that's the kind of role I'm trying to play for my son.
And I know that you've had problems because of your mum in particular. People think that you come from a privileged background and therefore being a soccer player, it's not really the norm. How have you dealt with that sort of criticism? Does it hurt?
I think I won't really say it hurts, but I think people just need to know you as a person, because it looks glamorous because all you see is that 2 minutes or 3 minutes from her on TV. You see 90 minutes of me on TV, and you think all is well. But what goes behind the background, people don't really understand. I mean, if I were to tell you that my mother has 4 brothers, 3 now. The other one passed away, I think 2 years ago. But she took care of them. She took care of her mom. She took care of her cousins, and she still took care of her kids at the same time, you know. And obviously, that's not the kind of weight I want on my shoulders, because I don't think I was made for that. But I see her strength, and I take the bits that I can from it to help myself succeed in life, you know. So it was also tough growing up, because sometimes you feel like she could have also given me a lot more attention, but she had to make sure like everyone around her is fine. But she's very selfless, and you know, that's another trait that I take from her, I think.
And when you are on that football field, and I'm asking this because something made me think back to when I first started in television, and whenever I'd be fine, knowing that maybe there's a million people watching, it's kind of fine. But if you saw somebody you recognize, then it's more petrifying. I mean, is that the case for you? Are you more intimidated seeing your mum there or friends there rather than this kind of amorphous mass of people watching you?
Not really. I think with my mom, because she always says, like even yesterday when we had the launch, she was telling everyone that she doesn't like watching me play football because she's so attached to me. So if anything goes wrong, like she won't take it well. So even with me, if I get to see her making a speech or doing an interview on TV, it's like, yo, please don't mess up, like, say the right things type of. So I'm always like on the edge of my seat, you know. And yeah, I think that's how I take it. Yeah.
What were you launching, by the way?
It's the golf day. So we're celebrating 10 years of the Grant Kekana Foundation. So yesterday was us just getting together with the sponsors and trying to, asking them to follow us and, you know, pledge whatever they can so that this foundation can move forward.
Let's go back to failures. I mean, and you could tie this into your foundation, some of the people that you're looking out for. I mean, how important is it to experience a failure, to hit rock bottom, and particularly in a culture like South Africa, being a man? What impact does that have?
Yeah, I think it depends on how you take it. But, you know, if you hit rock bottom, you know, the only way you can go after that is up. And that's why I tend to look at life from a positive view, no matter the circumstances, because it helps you grow as well as a person, especially character-wise, you know. So I always take setbacks and failures as me developing my character and allowing me to improve myself and my surroundings.
We've got a voice note that I want to play.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Jane. You have a legend there and a star in studio. Pass my regards to Papa Tsitsi. All the best, Grant. You are an inspiration to most of us. May God bless you.
Thank you so much. See, like voice notes like this make me want to tear up. You know, I think I'm just so thankful when people speak well of you or well of somebody, you know. But I always tell Rabi, you know, this is my childhood friend turned brother, you know.
Bye.
I always tell him that, you know, you don't get more. There's nothing more fulfilling than giving back. You know, it's a feeling you can't explain or comprehend. You know, and I find joy in doing that because everyone always says to me like, you're gifted or you're privileged to be where you are, or whatever. You know, and I'm like, I'm here because somebody gave me a chance. And for us to start this foundation was for me to say, you know what, I'm thankful for the chance I've been given. What can I do to give the generations that are coming up another chance, you know? And that's basically the purpose of the foundation, but also why.
And how will it work?
So we're just trying to create platforms so that the youngsters who are coming up are able to express themselves and are able to be seen. Back in our day, we used to have a lot of, like, I'll give one example about tournaments. There used to be like Danon Nations Cup, all these things where scouts would come and see us. And nowadays you don't see as much activity for the youngsters, and our foundation is here to provide that because obviously from where I am, I have access to a lot of people and I'm able to ask and say, guys, I'm doing this. Can you guys please come and see if you can't find talent where I'm trying to push this tournament or this soccer clinic type of thing, And I think that's just important for us so that we keep our level high, as South Africans, but we grow youngsters from a young age and we develop them so that, they're ready once they've passed the age of 18,
And wonderful doing something that you're good at and you can give back. We're going to talk more. We're just going to listen to a bit of important information. Okay, we'll get back to that a little bit later. We've got another voice note for you.
Afternoon, 702 and the team. Trust you guys are well and blessed. To the brother George Kekana, thank you so much for teaching us this afternoon. Life beyond the 90 minutes. I think that should be something that you guys in the sports vicinity or in soccer to share more of that so that the young ones that are coming can see there is life beyond the 90 minutes. There's definitely more than the 90 minutes that you guys can share. Thank you so much for being real. Thank you so much for being authentic. Thank you so much for sharing, because for you just being you are impacting the nation. Be blessed. Be blessed indeed.
You guys have very nice people. I think what he said is very important. And sometimes, us as footballers or athletes in general, we need to understand one thing. Our lives only begin once we end our careers, So while we're playing football or cricket or whatever it is, once we're in that space, we need to actually, from the get-go, start preparing our lives after it, because that's not our end all. And that's also another agenda we're trying to push, that, yes, it's glamorous. Yes, you have access to this. Yes, you have. But the moment you hang up your boots, you try call whoever. If you haven't forged that relationship, they're not going to answer. And that's just the reality of it. So it's something that we're trying to make people in our space aware of, that, this is not really real life. Our life starts the day that we retire from our respective field,
Oh, that's interesting. Let's talk about that a little bit more. I am speaking to Denise, who wanted to know who your mum's name is, Pinky Kekana. We were talking about that a little bit earlier on. Grant Kekana, the soccer legend, is with us in the studio, and if you want to ask him any questions, you can do so after the news headlines.
Thanks, Jane. Good afternoon. The North Gauteng High Court has given the green light to the national dialogue scheduled to take place next month. The court has dismissed the Labour Party's court bid to halt President Cyril Ramaphosa's dialogue. The party approached the court accusing government of driving an unconstitutional and wasteful process. The family of slain 11-year-old Jaden Lee Meek says it's placed all its trust in the justice system to solve the mystery of his murder. The comments were made outside the Relebogile Magistrates Court today, where the child's mother appeared. Tiffany Meek was applying for bail following her arrest in connection with the child's murder. And the US plans to impose steep anti-dumping duties on battery material from China. The country unveiled the preliminary 93.5% duty on imports of batteries with granite. The duty could raise temperatures in the global electric vehicle supply chain, potentially adding to costs for car makers who rely on the material for production. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at the moment in the south of Joburg, there's slow-moving traffic. This is heading into Protea Glen on the N12 westbound to between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. Also expect about a 20-minute delay. This is in the Lenasia area on the Golden Highway between the N12 and the R554. Also driving through Naturina. There's slow-moving traffic on the Golden Highway between Chris Hani Road and the N1. Also, if you're heading into the Joburg CBD, expect some delays on Main Reef Road between Production and the M2, and traveling through Sandton heading towards Midrand. There's slow-moving traffic on the M1 northbound between Ethel Oakland and Greyston Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Tsapang from Midrand. I love 702 because of the credibility of their news, the also credibility of their information. You can rely on their presenters, and on a lighter note, I also love their Wiz Quiz feature.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Get ready to fuel your stride with a delicious cup of Milo at 702 Walk the Talk. Packed with 6 vitamins and 3 minerals to help power your walk from start to finish. Swing by the Milo van for a tasty boost and experience the same energy that fuels South Africa's future champs every day. Milo, energy to go further.
South Africa leads the world's biggest economies, the G20, under the bold theme, solidarity, equality and sustainability. But this is more than a slogan. It's a call to action for solidarity, uniting nations through shared purpose, equality, creating fair opportunities for all, sustainability, growing today without costing tomorrow. As G20 president, South Africa is focused on 3 key priorities: inclusive economic growth and jobs, food security for every table, and using artificial intelligence for sustainable innovation. South Africa, leading the G20, shaping a better world. A message by the GCIS.
Time for a performance review of my FNB Gold business account. Giving my business up to 30% back in e-bucks at Pick n Pay. No other card does this. It's real money back on expenses. I can even use e-bucks to buy supplies from Take-A-Lot. I must give you a corner office, but you're a bank card.
The FNB Gold business account. No other card works harder for your business because saving you costs is worth it. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and earn rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider.
702 and the Discam Foundation are shining the spotlight on the health matters you want to know more about. Here's what we explored this month.
Gender-based violence. We know the scales are tipped against women, that women are the majority of victims, but that does not exclude men or boys. The narrative sometimes don't necessarily look on the side where men can also be victims.
The Discam Foundation clearly feels this is an important set of issues.
It is a discussion that should be happening in every household so that people can assist those that are afraid to speak out, that they too can get help.
In Conversation on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman, brought to you by the Discam Foundation, caring for the community on 702.
In 1995, Nelson Mandela donated a third of his presidential salary, not to a cause, but to a vision to change the way society treats its children. Today, 30 years later, the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund stands taller than ever, fueled by purpose, guided by integrity, and inspired by every child they serve. The Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, 30 years of impact, over 600 million rand in grants, hundreds of thousands of lives transformed. A lifetime of legacy in action. To help, go to www.nelsonmandelachildrensfund.com.
Coming up
on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
Afternoon, John. What have you got for us?
Good afternoon, Jane. Good afternoon, listeners. So, what do we call him? On leave Police Minister Senzo Mchunu is giving a public address today on Mandela Day, and Nhlanhla Mabaso will bring us news of that after 3. Meanwhile, kind of at the other end of the country in Tshwane, there are people marching against him and headed for the union buildings. Alpha Ramushwana has details of that. Banyana in action in the AFCON women's quarterfinal. They play Senegal on Saturday night. Simpiwe Dludlu, former Banyana captain, will update us on that. Battle of a very different kind, Jane. Lawyers in South Africa fighting Meta, the giant company, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, you name it. And they seem to be winning on a very, very important issue around accounts that have been used to spread child pornography. We'll talk about that in more detail after 5 in our weekly feature, A Song, a Book and a Dish. We'll talk to the actor and singer Zola 7. And in our other weekly feature, Randall's One Song, we will listen to Randall's One Song. That's at 10 to 5.
Thank you, John.
702. The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
My guest, Grant Kekana, PSL Defender of the Season in 2023-24, and representing South Africa in the national team and Sundowns. As one of my colleagues said, he's not going to hold that against you, but it's lovely having you here in the studio. We've got a caller on the line who you might know, Clifford. Do you want to put your headphones on so you can hear? Clifford from Sandton, good afternoon. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Grant. How are you, my boy?
Good, how are you?
Fine. This is Clifford Matsepe, your uncle.
Oh, been a minute.
From Polokwane.
You know,
how are you, my boy?
I'm good, thanks. Yo, it's been a while. I haven't seen you in forever.
It's been a while, my boy, but I'm following you. I remember in 2008, I think you were about 16, 17 years.
Yes.
We had a ANC branch fund run at Akmapoto branch in Polokwane. And you outpaced all of us. You embarrassed us. That's when I knew that you are a national asset. Keep well, my boy. You are making us very, very, very proud.
No,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rotman. Nice hearing from you again.
Hey, Tada.
Thank you, Clifford. I mean, it must be so beautiful knowing that you, I mean, obviously making family, anyone proud, but that you change people's lives. And you know, the fact that people want to say good things, you know, South Africa is such a jealous society, but the fact that people actually pick up the phone and leave a message, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's very heartwarming. And it just goes to show, you know, that everything that you do, you know, it's always worth it, no matter the challenges, the struggles, you know, at the end of the day, just that token of appreciation makes it all worth it.
Okay, I'm going to read some messages. From Zola, this interview is so beautiful. Grant, his humility and love, his love and respect for his mom is loud, a true gentleman and a man of honor. May he continue to touch lives, one child at a time. But Tommy says, great show, great player you have in the studio. I have an 8-year-old who's passionate for football. How do I help him to reach his potential as a potential professional player?
You know, I think as a parent, you just need to be supportive of your children. You know, in whatever dreams they want to achieve. I think the biggest thing that we also obviously must align your child and, you know, teach them about school and make school fashionable again. But, you know, just be supportive of their dreams. You know, that's the one thing that my mom did for me, and it allowed me to be where I am. But the one thing she kept telling me is just finish school and then you can go and chase your dreams, you know, so that even if football didn't work out, at least I can still go back to school. I have something to fall back on. So yeah, just be supportive of your kids.
Let's listen to this voice note from Tafara.
Thanks, Jane, for bringing Grant Kekana, one of my favorite players from my favorite team, Mamelodi Sundowns. 3 things come to mind. The first 2 of them being very public. The first one was that fatal pass that he made to a Pyramids player in Egypt. And the second one was his comment about his favorite politician being Julius Malema, who belongs to an opposition party to his mother's party. And considering that everyone knows who those 2 politicians are, imagine roles reversed. And if the mother had said that her favorite team is Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates, how would he feel about it? Would he consider those 2 things failures? And also, I'd just like to know if he involves the mother of his son in the relationship with his son. Thanks, Farai.
Wow.
You know, like I knew it was coming.
It had to come.
But what he said is actually true. You know, my mother is a staunch Kaizer Chiefs supporter, and she says that loudly. Even yesterday, she said, "You know what? I see," because some of my teammates were there at the launch. It's like, "Yeah, I see all you Sundowns guys, but me, I'm a Kosi for life," you know. And there's nothing wrong with it. But she's supportive of me, even though she doesn't support my team. You know, she knows if I do well or if my team does well, I'm going to do well. And she's supportive from that aspect, you know. And in terms of the CIC, you know, that's my big brother. I think, yes, I see politics, but, you know, I consider him my family, you know. And I was privileged enough to have known him from a young age and to see how he's grown to become what he is today, you know, considering all his circumstances and what he's been through. You know, it's out there in the public, but he's still standing tall. So he's somebody that, you know, I cherish, and, you know, I'm going to say that publicly because, you know, that's the relationship. Yes, that's the honest truth about it, you know, and I'm not afraid to say it. But that's my big brother. And yeah, he's a leader, man. But he's also been a part of my journey. You know, there's some times where, you know, I just didn't have answers. You know, I questioned things when I was going through things. And he told me about his challenges, you know, and how he overcame his challenges, you know. And I took strength from that as well to say, you know, nothing lasts forever. Even what I'm going through, it will end at some time.
When you hear about somebody else's challenges, does it make you sometimes think, I didn't actually realize I was going through a challenge there, a trauma? I mean, is there some kind of failure that you've kept to yourself and you haven't shared, and maybe only realize it was a failure when somebody else has admitted they've done the same?
Yeah, because like with this instance, you know, when he tells me like what he's been through, I'm like, oh, I think I'm not going through much, you know, and I'm like, if he can overcome such a big thing, what's stopping me from overcoming whatever I'm going through? You know, and that's just how I look at it.
All right, we've got another voice note to play.
Good afternoon, guys. This is Kauhelo from Mamelodi, and I just wanted to send a shout out to Staji, Fanis, Grant Kekana. I went to school with him, and to see him where he is today, like, it's very inspirational, and it makes me believe that I also can make it in life in whatever that I do. And yeah, to also hear him say that he has a foundation, I'm really, really, really proud of him, and I just hope God blesses him, you know, to have more years and have more impact in society. Thank you.
Nice. That's a blast from the past. Funny. Such a good guy, man. Very funny. I'm surprised he listens to 702, hey? Wow.
Really?
People actually
that
grow.
That might be his hidden secret.
Nice.
His dirty secret. Tell us about not reaching the finals at 2025 FIFA Club World Cup and the CAF champions, losing to Perimas FC. I mean, that must have been that could have felt like a failure. Did it feel like a failure?
Yeah, definitely. You know, and to be part of the reason why we couldn't achieve or win the CAF Champions League, obviously something that hurt me. It still hurts me till today. But I say to myself, you know, as long as I am still playing, I can rectify the mistakes that I did, you know, and that's why I always say that I always look at life from a positive perspective.
How long do you indulge in the pain?
So they used to tell us that, you know, don't go over 24 hours, like feel it for 24 hours and then after that accept it and work towards bettering or improving what you did, you know. And it was obviously tough because had we not gone to the Club World Cup in America, that would have been the last game of the season, you know. And imagine going into the off season with that kind of memory, you know. It still hurts, but I think maybe the FIFA World Cup sort of eased it out a bit. But we know going into the next season we have to do one better. But it was also a test of character. You know, I could have broken down, could have blamed myself, could have felt sorry for myself. given up, because it's not easy getting to the CAF Champions League final, But the one thing I took from that was that we're up there with the best in Africa, and then we went to compete in the world and we showcased what we're capable of, So I think for me, it's just about being persistent, being resilient, and just never giving up, So we're going to keep fighting even this season, and hopefully with God's grace, we'll be able to do one better.
Are we going to project more after this?
Hey, honey, look. Went to the shops, like you asked, and it was the Deco Fern birthday sale. Picked up this amazing 3-seater sofa for only $5,599. And this coffee table, just $489. Oh, and this gorgeous standing mirror for like $699.
Wow, I just asked you to get some milk.
Get deals worth celebrating at Deco Furniture's epic birthday sale with 10 to 40% and more of everything in-store or online now at decofurnsa.co.za.
Calling all golf pros. Hollywood Bets invites you to step onto the green. Tee up, take a swing, and enjoy glorious golf action from electrifying competitions and thrilling live tournaments. Get ready to conquer the fairway and chase epic fortunes. Ready to master the odds and experience your crowning moment? Bet now on all the excitement and prepare to make your hole-in-one shot to sensational success. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
Ah, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual-action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple-action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
As the official retail partner of the Springboks, Pick n Pay is proud to back the Boks and give you the chance to be the ultimate smart supporter with Pick n Pay ASAP. Money or the Boks on 702. WhatsApp your name, ID number, and the word ASAP to 072 702 1702. You could face the ultimate choice, a mystery Springbok supporter prize, or Pick n Pay ASAP vouchers worth up to 2,000 Rand. It's time to show your Boks spirit. Money or the Boks with Pick n Pay ASAP. Friday on 702 Drive with John Perlman. T's and C's on primemediaplus.com.
702.
The upside of failure.
Proof that a setback can lead to a step forward.
My guest is Grant Kekana. Some messages for you. Thank you, Grant, for showing us that we're all human, no matter the position one may hold. God bless you, your parents as well as your home. That's Tar Fuchs. And Tyrone Arthur says, nice interview. It's lovely to hear somebody being honest and laying it out there without any hidden agenda. I must say it's very refreshing. And another comment about, you didn't really answer the question about the relationship between you and the mother of your child.
Oh, no, we have a good relationship. I think we're friends. We check on each other now and then. But we always make sure that our child is happy, whether he's with me or he's with her, And that's the relationship that we both like, because we don't want to be bitter towards each other, because then that falls back on the child, and then he grows up angry and bitter. And we've seen it. She's had her, from her family side, she's had her whatever she's been through, I've had mine, and we both came to agreement that, bro, we didn't work out, which is fine. Sometimes you just need to accept that it didn't work out, but we have this human that we both want the best for. Can we make this situation of ours the best situation so that he grows up happy?
He's the priority.
He's the priority. And yeah, I think we get along so well, Yeah.
It must be hard having a relationship, being in a position like yours. I mean, all the travel and the fans throwing themselves at you. I mean, how do you balance that? That's, if you're in a relationship, it must be pretty tricky.
To get it out there, there's no fans that throw themselves at me.
I don't believe that for a second.
I'm not
Your best friend is laughing.
I'm not that accessible, you know. But it's very difficult because we spend so much time away from home. But as much as we want to be home, we understand that if we stay at home, we can't provide, you know. So that's the sacrifice that we need to make. And while you're out there, make the most of it so that when you do come home, you come back home with something to show. So it's very difficult, but it's part of life.
How do you not bring a failure home? I mean, you did say that you were told, okay, you're allowed 24 hours, but you were saying that some of the mistakes that you made still hurt. How do you keep that to yourself? Do you offload it? Is your mum the one that you speak to about those things?
Yeah, there's my mom and my aunt who I cry to every other time that I go through something, you know. But I think it's important not to bring work home, because sometimes the stresses, you pass it down to them. Now it's not nice at home, because at home you just want peace, you know. You just want to be comfortable. You want to forget about your challenges, and just show your love, you know. And if you bring that stress back home, you know, it makes it difficult for you to experience that in the house, you know. So I try my best not to. Obviously, sometimes it's difficult. You just want to keep quiet. You don't want to say anything to anyone. You'll have those days, you know. But the most part of it, I think, for me, I just want a peaceful household, where, you know, I'm able to just show my love, give my love, you know, and forget about whatever stresses of the world there are, you know. And I think that's what just motivates me to say, you know what, as much as I'm going through this at work or wherever, you know, I know I'm loved at home. So it makes me look forward to going back home, because I know that's where I'll find my comfort, my peace, and all the love. I'll experience it at home.
Gosh, it's the most powerful thing, isn't it? If you see a team member, and I know that, I mean, it's such a competitive world that you're in. I know that often alcohol's a problem, you know, relationships are a problem, and you see one of your teammates going through some kind of failure in their life. Do you get involved?
Yeah, we try to. I think especially with our team, there's a lot of brotherhood there, so we always hold each other accountable. I think there won't be as many instances where a team member or something goes into the news or newspaper about such things. You know, it's very rare, because we hold each other accountable. I mean, we have to respect the badge, we have to respect our president, the chairman, you know, but even the supporters, you know, and that's very important. And I think that's what's driven Mamelodi Sundowns to be where it is. You know, everyone holds each other with accountability.
Okay, if we can recap, and if you have one message to the listeners and to your fans and families and friends and all that kind of stuff about failure and the sort of impact it has on your life, or could have, or how it could improve your life, what's your message? Your final thought?
I think it's just to remember that nothing lasts forever. We're all going to go through something, but remember that, you know, through every dark day, you know, the next day the sun will rise. So whatever you're going through, you know, like, stick it through. Don't try find answers, you know, just stick it through. Something will give. That's really the message I can give, because that's how I know how to deal with failure. That's the only way I know how to deal with failure.
We've got time to listen to a snippet of the song that you've chosen. Why have you chosen the song? What does it mean for you?
Which one? I chose 3.
What's your favorite?
I think Kneel and Pray, by Mo Mulimi, a legend in the Motswako game. But I think even that song, it was round about the time my mother was going through. She's a praying woman. She was going through her challenges and politics, you know, and at that time, you know, all she could do was just kneel and pray, you know, and ask God to make a way, you know. And I think that song, just the chorus, had a powerful message for me. And I said, you know what, Mom, you are a Tswana woman, take this, listen to it. She's obviously not a fan of rap, She likes her house and whatever gospel music, But I think that song, from a young age, I think it was like 2007 or 6 when it came out. But it still means something till today, and that's the power of music.
Sadly, I don't think we got that, but we got a little bit of this.
Now for this next track, you don't really need to bob your head, make noise, or even sing along. I just want you to chill back and listen. When alone, look up and ask yourself, Uti la khanang, Tule fatse la boraro na bathong le naganang, a senyegile meletlo, kopana ka dipitlo ke malwetse ra bonana dilo tse di fatla ditlo. When alone, look up and ask yourself, kwenzakalang, to umuzi wa ka baba ncele nintshele ninjani, a senyegile meletlo, kopana ka dipitlo sonke siyafa engwe safa dilo tse di fatla ditlo. We're all familiar with the ABCs, private school kids know about the IEBs, we know the OTVs, the KTVs, the BBCs, but are we all familiar about the killer STDs? Let's oversee my tata anabana karapela. Use a condom, Buddha, if you don't say it. Or don't make love at all, do it how onyeze. Hai sike fete, si lempo se, panyagale rato, habale hueche. They'd rather go sleep around, not try to get my lete. I only bete. You've forgotten who the ace kills. Nobody to save you, disango more extra doctor pills. One day, watch some to or take 5 and think of this. How many ignorant people are infected cause of this? I know you've heard the song so many times in Yahoo Kenya, but unless you act bulletsy, what would you sing? When I look up and ask yourself,
one of Grant's favorite songs, and I can say that he moves as well in his chair, jiving to the music as he does on the football field. Grant, wonderful having you with us. Thank you very much.
Pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
You could bag the Powerball jackpot estimated at 77 million rand this Friday. That's right. Play Powerball for the estimated 77 million rand jackpot today and step closer to a world of big dreams. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Want to celebrate Women's Day in style? Then get your tickets as Grammy Award-winning singers Anthony Hamilton and Joe Thomas come together to celebrate the incredible woman of Mzansi on the 9th of August, happening at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium in Sandton. They'll be joined by South Africa's multi-award-winning singers, the incomparable Zonke, Sjava and Vusinova. Get your tickets now on CompuTicket or webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Soulful Night, Vertex Events and 702.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za. The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6. Possibility of a lower and tighter inflation target. If it is 3%, if it is announced relatively soon, would you be ready to implement that?
The SARB has done some work that says it makes a lot of sense to be at a lower target, and the general view is that this is 3%. Treasury is still finalizing some of the technical work. It wants to look at the consequences of this on the fiscus.
Deputy Governor at the South African Reserve Bank, Rashad Kassim. The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by Absa Corporate and Investment Bank, a leading Pan-African bank and proud sponsor of the African Blockchain Report 2024. Absa is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
And that wraps up a beautiful 2 hours. It's been wonderful being with you. It's 3 o'clock. Time for the news.
This is EWN.
Gauteng High Court gives the National Dialogue the go-ahead, and Jaden Lee Meek's family places trust in the justice system. Good afternoon, I'm Khomuza Modise. The North Gauteng High Court has given the green light to the National Dialogue scheduled to take place next month. The court has dismissed the Labour Party's court bid to halt President Mongezi Koko reports.
The Gauteng High Court in Pretoria has found that the Labour Party did not meet the legal threshold for an interim interdict. They had argued that the National Dialogue duplicates existing structures like Parliament and NEDLAC. It called the process irrational, exclusionary and a costly exercise that ignores the working class. The state and the foundations running the dialogue defended it as a constitutionally permissible effort by the president to foster national unity, citing his duties under Section 83. The court agreed, finding the dialogue rationally connected to that duty, also noting that its 700 million rand projected cost is not yet final. The dialogue will now proceed next month as planned, while the Labour Party pursues a full constitutional challenge. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
The Umkhonto weSizwe Party has handed over a memorandum to the South African Police Service calling for the protection of KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. The party's been staging a march through the capital city, protesting against the alleged political interference in law enforcement agencies. Earlier this month, Mkhwanazi made explosive allegations of corruption involving politicians, prosecutors and members of the judiciary. Alvaro Mushwana is there.
The MK party made a detour during its march to the Union buildings, stopping at the South African Police Service's headquarters in the CBD. While they had hoped to personally deliver a list of demands to National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola, a representative from his office came out to receive it instead. MK Party National Organizer Joan Ndlela then read out their demands.
We demand the following: an immediate resignation by the President of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, the immediate arrest of those implicated by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, the immediate firing of Mr. Senzo Mchunu. This government is given 14 days to respond to our demands.
A separate set of demands will be presented to the presidency at the Union buildings. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
The family of slain 11-year-old Jaden Lee Meek says it's placed all its trust in the justice system to solve the mystery of his murder. The comments were made outside the Relebogile Magistrates Court today, where the child's mother appeared. Tiffany Meek was applying for bail following her arrest in connection with her child's murder. The 11-year-old was discovered in front of his family unit at the Vleerhof complex in May. Ntokozo Khumalo reports.
In her bid for bail, Tiffany Nicole Meek has denied all allegations against her, claiming that she is being framed. This comes as the state insists it has damning evidence which led police to arrest her in connection with her son's murder. The state says the evidence was found in the flat that Jaden Lee and his mother shared. But in her affidavit, Tiffany Meek argues that if such evidence was found in her apartment, she would have been arrested sooner. Addressing media outside court, the child's uncle, Owen Meek, says all they want as the family is the truth.
We as a Meek family are backing up behind the law on this. We put in our confidence in it that justice will be served for Jaden. That's what we want.
Tiffany Nicole Meek will return to court next week, Monday. Ntokozo Khumalo, Eyewitness.
Police Minister Senzo Mchunu says he's ready to cooperate with the Commission of Inquiry probing allegations against him. Mchunu was recently implicated in a string of claims made by KZN police boss Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi alleges there's police interference in law enforcement agencies, pointing to Minister Mchunu and crime detection boss Shadrack Sibiya. As a result, President Cyril Ramaphosa has established a commission of inquiry to probe the allegations. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
With the allegations of misconduct hanging over his head, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu has still managed to paint a preschool and donated 4 Jojo tanks in Gwelezana. But while out and about performing his Nelson Mandela Day duties, Mchunu briefly addressed the elephant in the room. Mchunu says all the action taken by President Cyril Ramaphosa thus far with regards to corruption allegations is fair. He says this is why he welcomes the establishment of a commission of inquiry and is ready to state his case before it.
Well, those were made in a particular day, and I'll talk about that. But all I can say is that, foremost, I welcome with both hands the decision of the President. how best this matter or these allegations can be processed.
Mchunu is now set to address an ANC gathering in the area. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Empangeni, Northern KZN.
And the U.S. plans to impose steep anti-dumping duties on battery material from China. The country unveiled the preliminary 93.5% duty on imports of batteries with granite. The duty could raise temperatures in the global electric vehicle supply chain, potentially adding to costs for car makers who rely on the material for production. Gold is trading at $3,359.32 an ounce. The rand's at 17.71 to the dollar, 23.82 to the pound, and 20.63 to the euro. Brent crude oil's at $69.52 a barrel.
In Tembisa, heading towards OR Tambo International Airport, there's an accident scene R21 southbound approaching Olifantsfontein Road, causing heavy delays. That's if you are leaving Irene. Please allow for extra traveling time. While in Lenasia, we have roadworks causing about a 30-minute delay. This is on the Golden Highway between the N12 and the R554 and Nirvana Drive. And in Protea Glen, heading into Lenasia, there's also delays on the N12 westbound between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558.
It's a partly cloudy Friday in Gauteng this Mandela Day. The temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 23. The top story in EWN this hour, the North Gauteng High Court has given the green light to the national dialogue scheduled to take place next month.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Many hands make good work. So, let's unite and walk the talk. This Mandela Day on 702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 9 minutes past 3 on Friday, the 18th of July. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. Minister Senzo Mchunu is in Empangeni today addressing a Mandela Day rally. Meanwhile, 620 kilometers away, marchers led by the MK party are at the Union buildings demanding his firing and some other demands besides. We'll cover both stories in the next hour. Some other things on the go. South African lawyers taking on social media giant Meta have won another significant battle against the owners of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Earlier this week, a Joburg court ordered Meta to close down certain WhatsApp and Instagram accounts circulating child pornography. But the US company did not comply in every aspect, so the lawyers went back to court. Looks like they've won. More on that story after 5. Banyana plays Senegal in the AFCON semi-finals tomorrow night. Are they hitting form at just the right moment? How are you feeling about the team? Optimistic? Maybe you want to drop us a note either wishing the team well or just telling us what you make of the way they're playing at the moment. 072 702 1702 for that. We'll talk to former skipper Simpiwe Tludlu, who's with the team in Morocco. Her insights and analysis after 4. And in our weekly feature, A Song, a Book and a Dish, we'll spend some time getting to know music and TV star Zola 7. We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including breaking news, updates from the roads, and the latest from the markets. I'll give you the latest from the markets right now because the news is really good. It's a day when everything, apart from the oil price, seems to be moving in the right direction. The JSE is up by 1,350 points. That's a gain of almost 1.4%. It's being driven by the resources index, which is itself up by nearly 3.5%. Platinum stocks in particular driving the surge. Sibanye up by 8%, Valterra by 7.5%, Implats by 7.2%. Rand also on a bit of a tear, currently trading at 17.70 against the dollar. That's 20 cents stronger than this time yesterday. A euro will cost you 20 Rand 62, 12 better than 24 hours ago. And the Rand is currently trading at 23.82 against the pound. That's a gain of 18 cents over the same period. Brent crude, the party pooper here, up by $1.10, currently trading at $70.68 a barrel. Stephen Curtis with us with all the details at 4:25. And of course, he's on the Money Show between 6 and 8. We'll bring you sport with Tolakele Mganga. Looking forward to her thoughts on that Banyana Senegal match. Quarterfinals, always tricky. Khomotso Modise, who you heard a moment ago, back with news headlines at 3:30. And Karabo Chale is keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. If it's happening in 702 land, we'll do our best to bring it to you first. If you can help us, well, we're always delighted to get your either updates on stories that we already know about or stories that perhaps we've missed. Either way, the number to get us, 072 702 1702, or a call if you like on 011 883 0702. It's 13 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So there's lots to talk about, there's lots to inquire and ask about, and there's lots and lots to think about. When it comes to thoughts, often the most interesting thoughts are the most random ones.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me a catch. Matchmaker, matchmaker on your program and make me a perfect match.
So, did you have friends and family who tried to fix you up when you were single? And were you grateful for this intervention, this contribution, this desire to help you out? Or did they just simply drive you crazy? Did you wish that they would stop? Give me a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. This particular conversation popped into our heads because Refuwe Litsua, you have quite a story to tell on this one.
Please behave yourself, Karabo. Good afternoon, John, and to the rest of the 702 family. So I was a victim of this. My mother, I know she meant well. I would call it a victim. After some time, you just feel like a victim, John. Let me be honest, And I know my mother meant so well by this. And I should have just seen the pattern because there was a way she used to do it. Whenever she used to say to me, my baby, come, Refuwe, Fifi, my baby, my love, I knew something was up. So my mom could be anywhere, at the bank, at any shop, anywhere. She would find a handsome young man and say, listen, I've got a beautiful educated daughter that I think you might like. So sometimes she would do a video call or she would say, please send your picture, talk to Karabo now. Hi, here's Karabo, but who's Karabo? Now I have to be polite. I think it could be a potential Mkwenyana son-in-law. So she'd been doing that for years. Or she says, send a nice picture. Now make sure you look nice. I've got John who might be interested in you. I'm going to send you John's number. All the time.
Karabo,
or people delivering things
Karabo,
to the
don't even
house.
try and control your laughter because
Just laugh, Karabo. Laugh at my pain.
Your
Do
mother
it.
is a handful.
All the time.
Did you tell her to stop?
You know what? I think eventually she was like, I must stop. But I think she did it last year. And she will say, I saw his hands are also very clean. And I'm like, but is that a criteria?
It is.
No, but I'm just saying. It's just, so she would take random things, John.
Yes.
I mean, you guys are the perfect height. He goes to church, He has a very nice voice. I love his beard. I'm like, but okay.
Well,
Did you ever get a sense, and I asked you earlier if you actually ever met with any of these men, the answer, as I understand it, was no, but did you get a sense of how the men involved in this conversation were feeling about it? Were they amused? Were they like looking for security? I mean, what was the average response?
So there were two different responses. There was one guy, particularly I can remember from the bank. He was like, no, I like how you look. Next time you come visit the Free State, come see me, which I didn't.
Yes.
And the other guys would just laugh and say, shame, let's do something right because your mother clearly sees a future here. And I was like, boy, please, sit down. It's trauma. Laugh at my pain, Karabo. Let's go.
No,
Well,
it's a cute.
In fairness, you're chuckling at it too. Because, I mean, who else has a story like this? I bet you some of you do. So give us a call. And maybe you've got stories of a different kind, by the way, because these things can work out well. Family and friends who tried to fix you up when you were single, were you grateful? Did they drive you crazy? Karabo, you're up.
Gee, I don't think I would have survived if I was in your shoes, if you were. But yeah, I know. I don't remember anybody trying to hook me up, if that's the word. And I don't think I would have appreciated it because I'm a very private person, you know.
Yes.
My game is my game. I'll deal with it. I don't want anybody getting involved. Because if it ends bad, then what's going to happen? Then I'm going to be like, you see that person you brought for me?
Yes.
See how it turned out now. So I usually, ever since I was, in the dating game, which I started dating very late in my life. I was a late bloomer. And when I first introduced my mother to my girlfriend, she was like, oh, finally.
Really?
But then, yeah, I never wanted people to be involved in my dating life or try to influence me in any way. I thought I had it and I would make my decision and pick whoever I want and I liked because,
Yeah, go about it. I've got my game for better or worse. Yeah. I'm going to play it. What's happening in the traffic?
Well, at this stage, John, it is a Friday afternoon, so things are a bit busy. People are rushing to get home and get out and started with their weekend. At this stage in the Tembisa area, heading towards OR Tambo International Airport, there's an accident scene on the R21 southbound. That's approaching Olifantsfontein Road, causing about an hour delay. So, if you're leaving Pretoria and then hoping to catch a flight at OR Tambo International Airport, please allow for extra traveling time or avoid the R21 at all costs and use the N1 via Midrand and then make your way through Olifantsfontein Road through Kempton Park. Hopefully that will save you some time. Naturena, south of Joburg, bumper-to-bumper traffic on the Golden Highway between Chris Hani Road and the R554 Nirvana Drive. In Protea Glen, traffic is sluggish on the N12 westbound. That's between the R554 Abu Bakr Drive and the R558. And also, traffic remains a bit sluggish. That's leaving the Joburg CBD on Main Reef Road between Anderson and Church Street. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, right. The revelations, allegations, call them what you will, but certainly the press conference given by General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi a couple of days back. I've lost track. I think it's 2 Sundays ago. Anyway, a while ago, but not so long ago, continues to have reverberations. On the one hand, we have a march led by the MK Party in Pretoria and Tshwane, headed for the Union Buildings. You heard something about that in Khomotso Modise's bulletin. Alpha Ramushwana joins us at 12 minutes past 4. But Police Minister now on special leave of absence. Senzo Mchunu, at the center of the what was said by General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, was himself out in public today addressing a Mandela Day rally in Empangeni in the along the KZN coast. Nhlanhla Mabotja, our EWN reporter, is there, and he's with us now. Nhlanhla, very good afternoon to you. How much time has Minister Mchunu, I think we can still call him that, spent on the issues of national importance other than the ones that concern him, or has he spent quite a bit of time talking about his own situation and predicament?
Well, John, good afternoon. Well, he's spent less time talking about his situation, but mainly what people should remember Madiba for. You know, he was raising concerns about the issue of service delivery here.
Okay. Nhlanhla, we just lost you for a moment. Give it one more try, and if we don't get you, we'll call you back. Nhlanhla, try again if you can.
Hello, John, do you have me now?
Yes, better. Wherever you've moved to, do not leave that spot.
Your apologies, John. Network
right.
issues due to the cold front that was reported.
Okay.
Heavily raining where we are now. It's starting, in fact, as we cross to you. But Senzo Mchunu spoke mainly about why people should honor this day in commemoration of Nelson Mandela. He donated 4 Jojo tanks at a community that struggles with water here in Gwelezane, but also was seen painting walls at a crèche earlier on. But he also made comment addressing the elephant in the room when we asked him about, the allegations that he's facing. He says he's waiting to have his day in that commission of inquiry that has now been set up. In fact, I was laughing when you asked whether we should still refer to him as minister. During his opening remarks here, he then greeted police officers outside and then said, well, I am the police minister, I'm just on leave. Well, John, the police minister who's since been placed on leave, also said, should he be found guilty by this particular commission, he will then step down. Take a listen.
Not only willing to step down, because what will I be standing for if after all the processes, and indeed it is as that person who was making allegations, it is found that it is like that.
Yeah, so very, very clear indeed on that. I mean, has he given any indication of whether he's been told to be ready for particular investigations or inquiries? I mean, what have we heard?
Not at all, John, but he is currently preparing for that particular commission because he says he believes this is the only fair process where he'll be able to, present his case. In fact, as addressing this ANC gathering now, he told the supporters that there shouldn't be a situation where one person will make allegations and become an investigator of the allegations and then a prosecutor and then declare that people are guilty. He says this particular process will give people a fair chance to come before the commission present. In fact, he told these supporters here that he is more than willing to do that. He says if needs be that he arrives at the commission a day before his own hearing, he will do that. He is currently meeting with his legal team and preparing for that commission. Take a listen to what he had to say to EWN.
But I do put it out there that I've confidence on my side when it comes to putting my case together with my lawyers, and I'm preparing thoroughly for that.
That's police minister, because he still is in that position, I guess. Senzo Mchunu talking there to Nhlanhla Mabaso, our EWN reporter, who is covering his appearance at a Mandela Day rally down in Mpangeni. Staying with that story, as I said, there is a march led by the MK party. I think other organizations are taking part. March on the Union Building, certain demands tabled at the end of that march. Alpha Ramushwana joins us to summarize what happened there. And he's with us at about 10 minutes past 4. It's 24 minutes past 3.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, somebody else addressing a Nelson Mandela Day rally or activity was the Minister of Higher Education. We only note this because the Minister of Higher Education was supposed to be in Parliament today. And if you have been following that story, and I'm sure most of you have, Higher Education and Training Minister Nobuhle Nkabane has clashed with Parliamentary's Portfolio Committee that oversees higher education on more than one occasion. She's accused and has indeed been charged with lying to Parliament, and she was supposed to come back and explain a number of things. She didn't turn up. Now, that is a matter of record now. There will be a round 2, it's probably round 10, but of this particular iteration of the clash. Round 2 takes place on Tuesday, where she'll be summoned to come back again. But I'm just wondering what's going on. Is there more to this than meets the eye? EWN politics reporter Tsidi Madia joins us now. Tsidi, a very good afternoon to you. What is the Minister of Higher Education and Training actually doing here? She was delivering a keynote address at the annual National Student Leadership Induction Program in Buffalo City. Her deputies were quite capable of standing in for her on this occasion. Is she defying the Portfolio Committee, or is she actually also defying the President, who we had heard was looking to rein her in somewhat?
Good afternoon, John. I think it's fair to read it on both ends. That it's defiance of the President, the committee. In fact, I'd extend it and say it's a defiance of us, the citizens of the Republic, who are looking to somebody who's meant to be serving us to actually account for her actions. A lot of question marks about her actions, how she's handled the CETA boards, the independent panel that's not so independent, the involvement of Advocate Terry Mutawu, and she's unable to be held accountable because she's refusing to pitch in order to be held accountable. So I think that it's disrespect and disregard for all of us, the president included, parliament included. What's interesting for me is hearing insiders say to me that actually this is a person who hardly pitches now for cabinet meetings because she also doesn't want the pressure of being held accountable amongst her peers and her colleagues. And at every turn, what's also been interesting is that she almost survives being axed based on weird reasons. For instance, John, she almost went to China, but the letter reached her just before she left.
Yes.
She was always in the line of firing, but because the DA kicked a ruckus over the firing at Whitfield, it made it harder, supposedly, for the president to deal with it. What I understood about that particularly is that for politicians, no president wants to be seen to act because you're being forced by somebody else. And that the DA is actually unwittingly buying her time in that office. There are a lot of people in the ANC who don't want to continue with this Nkabani issue, who also want to see the back of that minister, and who believe it cannot be salvaged, that there is no other way, but she's got to actually be fired, who are equally, as I said, frustrated as the citizens, who are watching somebody completely disregard Parliament and South African citizens.
Isn't this the moment, though, for the president of the country, because it is, after all, South Africa that pays Cyril Ramaphosa's salary and not the African National Congress, where he actually acts in the office that he holds and says, this is unacceptable behavior. This is not a good person to run a crucial ministry. Thanks for your service. We're getting somebody else. I get that political corners can get painted where you find yourself on the wrong side of the artwork. But that can't be a reason for not acting on something where the disregard, as you've sketched it out on three fronts, is firstly so palpable, but secondly, it's almost, to me at least, and I've never met this minister who's, by the way, very new to cabinet life, as I understand it, it seems like she's almost saying, well, I dare you.
I think it's an indictment on the president. The way you've even fashioned this question for me, it is that. It is the question of political expediency versus what is in the interest of the country, versus the roles and responsibilities that are empowered on the president. I mean, the executive sits there, right? Authority sits there. And so that's what South Africans are looking to. South Africans are saying, never mind the political back and forth and the spats and wanting to outmaneuver each other. The greater question has to be, does this minister deserve to continue? Her continued stay has to be an indictment on the president. And I don't think for a second, by the way, John, that the president doesn't understand that. I think he does. The question goes back to why not act. On Sunday, I hosted the special that we had on Prime Media, and one of the questions I asked is, should we not be seeing a cabinet reshuffle along with a minister who's then put on leave? Is that there's another minister who we believe has to actually leave office. So we don't understand what keeps halting that from happening. You hear people saying that the president has frustrated himself, is growing impatient, but where's the action that shows that the president feels the way we feel as citizens? There he's found wanting, and because he's the boss, everything has to go back to him. The fingers have to point to him. The frustration has to be expressed and taken out on the president.
Frustrated is the person who sees things going wrong and wishes they could be axed. I don't think it's fair to or apt to describe the president of a whole country in that way. It is, to me, by the way, an extraordinary situation, and compounding it. I don't know how closely you followed this, but apparently the Director General in this department sent out a letter to other people who were meant to appear saying the hearing had been cancelled. Now, I don't know if that's against the law. It certainly must be against any kind of code that senior public officials sign up to. I mean, that is as far as I can see, the deliberate dissemination knowingly of false information. If you didn't call the meeting, surely you are in no position to cancel it. So I think the stakes are getting raised quite high. And the puzzling question, of course, is, well, not the puzzling question. The question still to be answered is, would this be the last straw for President Cyril Ramaphosa and the people who advise him? Or will the saga drag on and on? My own view, by the way, is if he were to act, I think we would probably stop talking about the current Higher Education and Training Minister once she was former Higher Education and Training Minister. I think she'd be out of the news within a week. That's exactly what I think the country would make of this were it to happen. For as long as it doesn't happen, it remains, as it should be, a big story. It's 29 minutes to 4. Kumotso Modise with the very latest eyewitness news. Interesting update from the Health Department. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The Health Department has confirmed that there are no agreements with other countries to recover costs of treating illegal foreign nationals at public facilities. This comes as Operation Dudula intensifies its campaign at public clinics in Johannesburg and Durban. The group has been illegally demanding identification from patients and turning migrants away from facilities. The department has warned that blocking migrants from accessing care not only breaks the law, but also undermines the Constitution. Mongezi Gogo reports.
The Health Department says there are no formal bilateral or multilateral agreements to recover the costs of care from other governments. It says foreign patients are billed like anyone else according to public tariffs or means tested if they cannot pay. It says this leaves South Africa to carry the full cost of treating thousands of migrants each year, despite its own limited resources. The department says this forms part of upholding the Constitution's guarantee that everyone has the right to have access to healthcare services.
Majority of the citizens who are here, they are here illegally, meaning that even their own government, they are not aware of their whereabouts.
The department is urging communities to respect the law and leave decisions about patient eligibility to trained healthcare professionals. Mungi Zikoko, Eyewitness News.
Embattled Higher Education Minister Nobuhle Nkabane has failed to attend another crucial meeting in Parliament today. The minister was set to give members another briefing on the Sector Education and Training Authority Board selection process, which was abandoned after an outcry that many of the appointees were aligned to the ANC. But she's ditched that sitting for a Mandela Day event. Babalo Ndenze has more.
The Higher Education Committee resolved at its meeting in June to invite all those involved in the SETA Board selection process, including